Are lined up for Red Ribbon Week are Committee Chair and U.S. Attorney General Alicia Limtiaco and DEA Resident Agent in Charge Mike Perelewski. Thank you so much for being here. Half a day to you both.
Half a day, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now of course you are both wearing the red ribbons, signifying the commitment to being drug-free. It's a very touching, very moving story, so why don't you get us up to speed on exactly how Red Ribbon Week came to be?
Okay.
Month in this case.
Yes, and that's one thing I want to point out, that here in Guam, we celebrate Red Ribbon for an entire month, where the rest of the mainland and the other territories are generally doing it for simply a week, that last week of October. But it started due to a tragic event. Enrique Kiki Camarena, who was a DEA agent assigned in Mexico, was murdered by Mexican drug traffickers, and that occurred in 1985. And what happened is his hometown of Calexico in California took that situation and tried to bring something good out of it. So what they did is they started celebrating by wearing red ribbons. And what had occurred, by 1988, Red Ribbon became a national program. It was chaired by Nancy Reagan at that point. But a little bit of history on Enrique. He was a police officer and a Marine, and prior to becoming a DEA agent, he was on the cusp of dismantling a major drug trafficking organization. That drug trafficking organization was aware that he and his efforts were a threat to that drug trafficking organization, and that's when they kidnapped him and tortured him for days. That's how the Red Ribbon came out, where the community where he was born and raised first took grasp of that. And what it's led into is a national program to get youth to commit to being drug-free, but also tobacco-free and alcohol-free.
Mm-hmm. And I was talking to you before the interview started, and you said the tobacco and alcohol aspect has always been there, even though, you know, on paper most people associate it with drug use.
Right. What we're trying to get is the youth to commit to having that clean environment, and that's where we bring in also being drug, alcohol, and tobacco free.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and of course a very fitting way for you and your brothers in the DEA to recognize a fallen comrade. Any speculation on the significance of the color red? Why that was selected?
You know, I think it was just the significance was the hometown decided to wear red ribbons, and it sort of stuck at that point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Alicia, you and your team as the U.S. Attorney for Guam and CNMI do so much work within this space. Talk a little bit about what the environment is as far as drug investigations and things of that nature.
Well, the U.S. Attorney's Office works very closely with, of course, DEA and other federal partners. We also work closely with the Guam Police Department, Guam Customs and Quarantine. We have been looking at the drug enforcement efforts in different ways. One, of course, is prevention through programs and campaigns like the Red Ribbon Campaign. We have also, of course, worked in what we call organized crime drug enforcement task forces operations, which certainly involve all of the various law enforcement entities, local and federal, undercover operations. We also work in matters that are interdictions, as we refer to them. These are situations where, again, we try to get to the parcel or to the drugs that are being brought into the island before they make its way throughout the community. And so there are various ways in which we can do that. And then, of course, we have our cases that we prosecute through our court system. We have been seeing a large number of cases go through our office. Certainly the drug problem that we have in Guam, many people in our islands may not be aware, but it's certainly an area to be concerned about. And through these types of campaigns like Red Ribbon, we try very hard to get the message out to our youth and to our families that it's important that we start at home.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that because, of course, again, the purpose of the Red Ribbon Campaign is to continue the legacy of DEA agent Camarena, who, of course, died in 1985. As you said, he was murdered. So to continue his mission and what he stood for, but then also to educate and to help kids and everything. So as far as advocacy and going out there and like an educational campaign, what's being done to make sure the kids commit to being drug and alcohol and tobacco free?
We've done some really great things. So far this year, I'm going to refer to my notes here. So far this year, we've reached over 10,600 youth. That's myself, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Big Brother, Big Sister, all the counter-drug folks from the National Guard here, and I'm missing a bunch because we have all gone out and had the opportunity to speak to sometimes hundreds of kids in one shot. And these are, some of them are younger, and some of them are young adults, high school students, where this can be a very current event for them. We've had that opportunity to talk to them, promote that drug-free environment. We've also had proclamations where we had the large proclamation was signed by the governor to initiate and start off the Red Ribbon program. But it's really reaching out to the kids that's the biggest benefit. We've also had many other community events. We've had it was on October 13th, we had the outreach at the Micronesian Mall where we had the rap contest, the judging of the poster contest. We also have Say Boo to Drug coming up, and that's going to be at the Agana Shopping Center. And that's where we're going to announce the gate winners, and that's where we ask the schools to decorate their gate or around their school. There's 7 schools that participated in that.
Okay, we'll tell you what, there is a very impressive way and comparatively and proportionately that Guam's participation in Red Ribbon Month is compared to other markets in the States. But stay tuned because we will talk to Mike and Alicia more about that when we return after this.